Let's go ahead and start with Lesson 3, learning about lenses. The lesson concepts in this lesson are that non-living objects have physical properties that can be observed and identified by using magnifying tools. The focus question is, what physical properties must objects have if they are to be used as magnifiers? Go ahead and post the focus question and the word card physical property in the pocket chart. Physical properties are words used to describe attributes of non-living objects. If you want to get a true prediction about which of the objects, the cube, cylinder, or sphere, will magnify, do not give the students the objects until they have completed the first two columns of the data table. Try putting the objects under the document camera for the students to complete the first two columns and then hand out materials. You may want to use the following student instruction sheet for the investigation. Consider using the sample data table that follows instead of the blackline master in the teacher's guide. Students will benefit more from identifying and recording the properties of the objects they are testing than from writing the underlined word 3 times. Ask the students to draw, title, and label their own data tables based on the sample. Doing so helps develop the students' ability to organize their thinking and present their data so that others can interpret, replicate, and learn from it. The first thing the students are going to do is predict whether or not each of the 3 objects, the cube, the cylinder, and or the sphere, will magnify a word on any text sample. They will need to write why they think so on their data table. Draw and label each object on their data table also. When they've made their predictions, have one person from each table group get 1 bag of objects, 2 pieces of wax paper, and a dropper bottle of water for each pair. Tell them they can use any text at their table to determine magnification. So what we're going to do is, as a student, I would sketch and label after I saw the sphere under the document camera. So I draw in my best possible drawing. I draw the sphere here, and I label it sphere. Then I'm going to predict whether the object will magnify. And I'm going to say yes. Now, my table group leader has gone to get the materials, and I have the sphere here. I then take the sphere and I roll it over any sort of text, and I see, oh, I was correct. It actually does magnify. So yes, it does magnify. And then what are the physical properties of the object? Well, I notice that the physical property of this is that it is round, and I can see through it. So students might say see through it. Please redirect them to say transparent. You will need to do this also for the cube and the cylinder. For the drop of water, what you're going to do is the students will predict if a drop of water will be a magnifier and tell why they think so also. So if I go ahead and draw, I'll do my drop of water right here. I'm going to predict if it will magnify. For these purposes, I'll just say no. And does this object magnify? What they will need to do, the directions are, place 1 drop of water on the wax paper. You can put the wax paper on any text that you would like. It says slide it over the newspaper, but again, you can use anything that you'd like. And you're going to put 1 drop over the text. And lo and behold, actually, when you look at it, it does magnify. So I would go ahead and put, does this object magnify? Yes. What are the physical properties of this object? Well, I seem to notice that they're the same physical properties close to the sphere. It has a rounded, curved outer shape and also transparent. So I would go ahead and note those on the observation part of the data table. When processing this investigation, students easily come to the conclusion that magnifiers must have a curved surface. But often they somehow miss the fact that magnifiers must also be transparent. If they don't seem to come to this conclusion, give students the blue marble to place over the word on their piece of newsprint or any text print. This should lead them to the realization that both properties are necessary in order for an object to be a magnifier. Make sure to add to your KWL chart that you started in Lesson 1. Students will have more knowledge and probably more questions after having had some preliminary experiences with magnifiers. At the end of the lesson, when students are finished, please ask which objects magnified and what the properties of the objects are. Make sure you post the word cards, transparent and convex.